Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is in good fettle and your week has started with a bang. And if you are watching us for the first time, why don't you consider giving the channel a subscribe and hitting the bell icon? And even if you're here as a returning watcher, please don't forget to drop a like on the stream and get involved in the comment section of the live chat. Why not? Whilst you are here, got something to get out the way. Duke, do you want to press the imaginary button? There you go. He's pressed the imaginary button. Forged from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. Okay, let's get down to it. We're here to discuss Premier League Matchday 13 of 38. Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0 yesterday afternoon at Old Trafford. I was very lucky enough, as you know, Duke, and a certain someone, at least in the chat, is aware of because he was sat next to me for the second half. Evening, Charlie. Hope you are well. How did you view the match as it unfolded? Because I'd be honest with you, I'm aware. I've not looked for it. It's sort of like it found me in a funny sort of way. That there's a lot of people out there that have been quite negative about the performance, if not the result, which I don't get. Over to you.
Okay, let's.
And when I say I don't get, I'm talking about in the context of this match in isolation.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Okay, so let's talk about this game. I'm going to quote another YouTube video's title in my next comment.
Okay.
And the video that I'm going to mention is Man U were clinging on at the end, Rob. Okay, Man U were clinging on at the end. I use the words 3, possibly 4. I can't even call them world-class saves, Rob. Okay, I can't call them world-class saves because for me, they go beyond that. These go into the realms of Gordon Banks, Pele-esque style saves. David Seaman, Sheffield United, the header that's behind him, he saves it, yeah? These are in that realm. And it wasn't just one that he made, okay? He made 3, Rob. 3. Yep. You know, the header from Zuma.
Yep.
What a save. Like, seriously, that is... For me, that's a goal 8 or 9 times out of 10, Rob. Like, keepers aren't getting there.
Yep.
The one from Declan Rice, the one from Antonio. I mean, and then you have Bowen, the block, then you from Maguire. Then you have the one from Bowen, 93rd minute, which we've all seen the pictures of, and I don't think it does him justice, to be fair, and it doesn't. You can make a picture look as bad as you need it to in any kind of context. Listen, game plan kind of laid out. Now, I know that people weren't happy to see the three-man midfield that we had, in the sense of it gave us 8 defensive players on the pitch, if you include the keeper, right?
Okay.
Keeper, your back 4, Downs, Rice and Souček, complement to 8. Then you've got Bowen,
Benny.
Benny and Skamaka. That's it. When you've only got three attacking players on the pitch, Rob, you are going to be lacking, shall we say, in an attacking outlet.
Mm-hmm.
It's all well and good you and Hammers Chat Forum, Gonzo. I mentioned his video, there, that they were clinging on. Makes a very good point that until I actually watched his video, I really didn't connect the dots. But Downs was played in the cam role.
Yep.
To effectively man mark Casemiro, which, for the most part, mate, I spent the afternoon with your brother. Okay, I watched the game with your brother.
Okay.
And I asked the question: what makes Casemiro at 30 years old worth 60 million quid? I saw absolutely bugger all from that man yesterday that made me think at 30 he's worth 60 million quid, right? And I put some of that down to Downs. I thought Downs played admirably. The problem is with Downs, he gets a nosebleed the further he goes forward, because
yes,
game, he's not attacking minded. When it comes to those kind of runs forward, you want Declan Rice. Okay, that's essentially what you want. Someone carrying the ball in that, from kind of the centre circle in their half forward.
I'd have been tempted to put Souček there, to be honest with you, because at least he's got that aerial prowess.
Aerial prowess, but we also needed that where we had it. And again, I hate doing this, but he deserves the compliment on his videos. Gonzo and his dad, I watched their video this morning, and he turned around and said, he now looks as Downs as a defender. He looks at him as headers one and tackles one.
Souček.
Souček, sorry, yeah, and rightly so to a degree, because we're not getting that from Souček that we had. But back to the game itself, Rob. Game plan laid out. Game plan to keep us in the game until 60, 70 minutes achieved. Almost, Rob. Almost. Not just get a point out of that game, but take all 3. The fact that we had 5 shots on target in the last 15 minutes of the game. The fact that, I tell you what, we weren't just, I wouldn't say, we dominated that game for a good, I'd say half an hour, 40 minutes. In my opinion, we dominated the ball, I felt, in about half hour, 40 minutes. What we lacked was the quality.
Yes.
Really getting pissed off, pardon my French, trying to watch my language a bit more. Really getting frustrated with our lack of delivery, Rob, if I'm honest with you. Corners, free kicks, crosses in general. I tell you what, there was one piece of magic that was delivered as a cross yesterday by Eriksen. Okay. But we had 3 men around him watching him as he went to make that cross. Yes, Rice was very close to blocking it. But he had all the time in the world to control that with possibly his arm. Got to put that in there. And then
I thought that. I was very close.
A very, very good cross. Kehrer
didn't cover himself in glory, did he?
He kind of beat me to it. He didn't cover himself in glory, just because the simple fact is he he didn't jump, Rob, until it was too late, and Rashford was coming in, started in front of him, dropped back, and then managed to get back in front of him for the header. Fantastic delivery, brilliant goal. But as I say, that was really, really the only thing that separated the two sides through the entire 90 minutes, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I come out of there, and don't get me wrong, I'm not happy with the result. If I view this match and stand it alongside David Moyes' record against top 6 teams away from home, which we all know is pathetic in the extreme, then I'm quite annoyed. Also, if I view it again through the lens of basically our form since the turn of the year, then I become slightly more concerned, slightly more angry. But if I'm just going to view it on this particular match, which is what we're here to do, it's just one of those where we were, in my opinion, and it is my opinion, and others will disagree, we were the better team. And I think that the only thing that separated us from at least a point was a lack of quality or luck in certain situations in the final third, and aligned with the saves that De Gea made. I mean, the 3 saves he made, first from Antonio, then from Zuma, and finally from Rice, were outstanding. Outstanding. I don't want to give the guy any credit whatsoever, but I have to. They were absolutely outstanding saves. They got better, in my opinion, the saves got better as they went along. The first save from Antonio, the tip over, powerful drive. Then the header from Zuma, he stretches across to his right, and then the ball breaks. Ben Rama's on a run. Harry Maguire makes the challenge. Rice just comes onto it first time, laces through, bang, and then he stretches out left and gets a hand to it and pushes it wide. Listen, sometimes it's just not your day. As far as yesterday's concerned, in isolation, like I say, I'm not viewing it as David Moyes' record, our record since the turn of the year. Just on the basis of yesterday, I think we were damned unlucky. I think we were at least good value for a point. I know now, then when I step back and I do look at it with David Moyes' record, I do go, oh, here we go again. Do you know what I mean? But I say, there was nothing more we could do on the day, I don't think. You could possibly turn around and say, like you say, the 3-man defensive midfield unit of Rice, Souček, and Downs. Could he have possibly dropped one of them to the bench and instead played Lanzini, instead played Fornals, which would have given it a slightly more offensive look about it? I don't know. I'll tell you where I think it went a bit awry. There were 2 things, actually. There's 2 things I want to get off my chest about yesterday. And they might seem minute decisions in the cold light of day. But the first one, Declan Rice makes a break in the first half from their left-hand side, right? Or sorry, their right-hand side, our left. And I was right in line with this. That ball never went out of play. The whole of the ball has to cross the whole of the line, correct?
Yeah.
It did not.
No, it didn't.
It did not. He would have been through. He would have been through if it had have carried on as it should have done. That's one thing. The other thing that I think was crucial to our chances in the latter stages of the match and may well have been overlooked, it was the booking of Scamacca. The booking of Scamacca changed his mindset from that point onwards. He got booked in the first half. Then in the second half, there was another situation where the Manchester United players were looking for him to get the second yellow card. They were arms outstretched. They were protesting. All the rest of it. And from that moment, and Charlie was stood next to me, and I said to him that the sub's going to be Scamacca and off and Antonio on, and so it proved to be. Now, we'll never know if David Moyes would have possibly brought Antonio on and played him alongside Scamacca for the last 15, 20, 30 minutes. Who knows? That option was taken away from David Moyes because of that yellow card. Now, I'll be honest, I'm saying this as someone that only saw it there in real time. To me, I think it did look a yellow card where I go, was it? Wasn't it? There was a lot of other situations, Duke, where Man United players were committing fouls. I think there was one, if I remember rightly, that Luke Shaw did on Jared Bowen, where I was like, that's a yellow card all day long. Nothing.
He actually sticks his
Not a
arse
thing.
out on that, Rob. If you watch,
Yeah.
he puts the ball past him, and he actually tries to make it look like he's getting out of his way by pushing his back, pushing himself forward. What he actually does is he sticks his arse out and gives, and this is why Bowen goes down in a heap, because he actually hits the hard hip of Shaw, and that's why he goes down in a bit of a crump, because he's hit the hard bony area of the guy's hip, rather than running side on into it, which you got like more of a hit then, didn't you? What I will say is
that is a crazy one. Charlie told me this yesterday that Aya's not even in the 55-man squad for Spain.
Now,
my word!
When I look at the throw, okay, we all watched a few seasons ago that ball go pretty much over towards the Hammers Chat boats.
Yep.
Then come back onto the pitch, and they score from that. And the one from Rice, it clearly does not go out, and shit like that does not help my theory of a conspiracy for the top. You see what I mean? Yeah, that shit that happens. I'm trying not to swear. That stuff that happens there really does fuel my anger towards this Big Six conspiracy. The free kick that Bowen, that's a yellow. The Scamacca one, which, by the way, was his first foul in such a cynical way, if you want. Yeah? The one in the second half that you talk about where he sticks his foot up, well, the guy actually ducks down into it as well. So this is why he doesn't get booked. I can tell you now, if he doesn't duck down, he's getting booked and he's walking, because that's what the Man U players wanted. And they didn't necessarily surround the referee, but there was a lot of arm waving. There was a lot of this imaginary yellow card. And, I mean, listen, it's all well and good, okay? You want to talk about context. It's 4 defeats in 12, of which we were actually taken out of a game yesterday by a goalkeeper that has probably made the 3 best saves of his career in 10 minutes. We're taken out of a game by a referee and a linesman that doesn't know that the whole ball has to go out through a throat, right? That's yesterday. Chelsea were taken out of a game, or at least a point out of the game, by VAR that denies the equalising goal from Maxwell Cornet, right? Yep. And then you have the Liverpool game where, we had a couple of chances, much like yesterday in a way, at the end of the game. Yeah, so again, we've lost 3 games.
This isn't a rant, words and pictures. You should know this is just him having a heated discussion. The rant is much worse.
There may well be a rant coming towards the end, though. Now,
stay tuned.
we've been outdone in 3 games, 2 of which we probably outdid ourselves. Liverpool and United. We lost to Everton as well. But there's still 7 wins. Thank you, Andy. There's still 7 wins and a draw in the last 12. Okay, so let's not get too carried away. Once again, I told someone, and he may well watch this video at some point. I'm going to swear because I'm actually going to use the right words that I used.
Okay.
I told him to fuck off yesterday, when literally 30 seconds before the full-time whistle, he sat there and went, Moyes out.
I think I know who this might be.
Right? Stop.
I think I know who this might be.
Now, on On a more fun side, if I may, I'd like to know.
Just before you go on, I'll answer this one. Ken, by the time I got home, she wasn't going to cook me anything, and to be honest, at 11:30 at night, which is pretty much what it was, I wasn't going to eat anything and then go to bed. I got to be honest. But can I just tell you, the food at Old Trafford, this wasn't inside the ground. This was sort of like in the sort of outside, near the sort of like Manchester United Trinity statue of Best, Law and Charlton. It was quite close to there. They had like a burger van, and I ordered amongst
Wasn't the
other
Lou
things.
Macari one, was it?
No. I ordered some cheesy chips. Right now, what is your interpretation, ladies and gentlemen, and you, Duke? What is your interpretation of cheesy chips? If you ask for cheesy chips, what do you imagine you're going to get?
What I'd imagine I'm going to get would be grated cheese melted on top of some chips. I'm going to go with the fact that you got a cheese slice on top of some chips.
No.
Okay.
No. Your original statement of what cheesy chips should be is halfway towards what I got.
Did you get a and that was it?
I got handed to me a cardboard sort of container, where they'd put chips in it that were tepid,
nice,
lukewarm at best, and they grated the cheese on, and it didn't melt. It was just basically grated cheese dumped on some cold chips. Honestly, I think I ate, a couple of handfuls. That was about it. I probably had 2/3 of it still left, and I left it for the pigeons. I came out after the game. The pigeons had left it alone. It was still there.
Still there. It's always worrying. If I'll just do this one.
Yep.
I know Neil. I'm very good friends with Neil. I've known Neil for nearly 20 years now, 18 years. Mm-hmm. And I actually do agree with part of his statement now, that if you're playing for a 15-minute push at the end, you're not going to get many points. I do agree with that. What I will say is I wouldn't say it was a lack of ambition in the selection of the team. He's put a team out there that he's felt was the right one to either keep us in the game, ready for the subs. And we actually managed to stick with them, Rob. I really do feel that we matched them for a lot of it. The stats that Budgie, Green Street Elites in the chat, put in our group, that doesn't tell me that we were out of the game in the slightest. I know what people do say about,
hey, Doug.
It looks a great game on paper. It wasn't a bad game to watch, Rob. To be fair, we were there or thereabouts. Now, back to what I was going to say before you spoke about your cheesy chips.
I wouldn't even say it looked that good, Terry. Honestly, it was. Am I allowed to swear? Is it just you that's not swearing?
I'm very aware that I swear a lot on every video we do, so I'm trying to curb mine. So go ahead.
All right. Well, I'll play along. It was very poor, very poor. Anemic is an understatement. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask the people. We've got 25 people in the chat. What's the likes on the video like? Rob, let's get some likes and stuff going, you beautiful people. Give us some likes. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me have a look. How many likes have we got so far?
And if you haven't
16,
subscribe.
17. Come on, keep going, guys. Keep going.
25. Yeah, let's get some people on this.
18. There you go. Come on, keep going.
I have a question for everyone in the chat. Okay, I'd like to know.
I saw that, Kent.
I'd like to know.
And I think you won.
What constitutes?
Evening, Dan.
I can't Google it because I haven't got my phone's dead. What constitutes an amazing piece of skill, Rob? If you would indulge me in this part of my not my rant, but this is a conversation. What would you constitute in a player beating another player on the pitch? What constitutes an amazing piece of skill? Would it be, like a Cruyff turn back through the legs, which
Yeah.
back in its heyday was an amazing piece of skill?
Yeah.
Now, fuck, you're going to make me swear, Charlie. Stop it. Even the Cruyff turn now, Rob, is not considered an amazing piece of skill. 8-year-olds do it on a football pitch. I used to do it playing five-a-side. The Neymar rainbow kick over the
Are
head.
you asking me for my opinion?
I'm just putting these out there as ideas, and then you can
Right.
come back at me. Is it, like the rainbow flick that Neymar does, up and over and then breaks forward? Is it a bit of Ronaldinho-esque ball juggling on his head as he's walking down the line? Is it, Maradona picking the ball up against England in 86 and beating the players? Now, what would you consider, Rob? And please don't agree with these people, because I can't abide it right now.
Keep going at him, lads. Keep going at him. He'll break.
What would you consider that? I'm not going to swear. What would you consider to be, Rob, an amazing, this crazy piece of skill?
I love seeing quick feet, ball manipulation. Now you see them, bang, they're gone. I love seeing anything like that where the opposition player is completely taken to the cleaners, bamboozled, taken out of the game. So Maradona against England in 86 has to be top of the tree. Something along those lines, because he's, sort of like, whoop, 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 gone. See you later.
Bobby Moore's tackle on Pele, for instance, is
yes.
Maradona against England. Said Benrahma walking on the ball and taking Casemiro, just literally all he did was up on the ball, did a spin, dragged it, and then ran off again. I'd done that for years, Rob, right? And I said this, right? I'm not saying it wasn't fantastic to watch. It was. But within seconds, Rob, of him doing it, and I sat on my chair in the pub, and your brother will back me up, yeah. I actually sat there and went, oh, fucking hell, Benny, stop it. Because it was great to watch, right? It was great to watch.
Okay.
But within seconds of that happening, there were YouTube videos going up with the title, an amazing, great bit of skill from Benrahma. And I'm like, they do that every day in training. That's just an everyday move. That really isn't a crazy piece of skill that everyone losing their fucking mind. Everyone losing their mind over.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Ooh, yes. Right? It wasn't.
Good shout, Terry.
It wasn't this amazing piece of skill. It was fantastic to watch in the moment of the game. But like I say, these guys do this every day in training. I'll tell you what,
I've got a fantastic bit of skill that I think is often overlooked.
Go on.
Zinedine Zidane, 2006 World Cup final, to take a penalty, a Panenka penalty in a World Cup final against a great goalkeeper like Gianluigi Buffon. Yeah. It might not be, but that was like, oh mate, that is so cheeky.
Mate, there's cheeky. There's bits if you actually Google Zidane on YouTube and watch. I think it was in one of the World Cup games where he brings it. He's a prick. Brings it down his chest.
He's a friendly prick though.
And, chests it over the defender, goes around the other side of him, flicks it back over with his foot, does a bit of a juggle, and then moves on. Now, in the moment of the game, it was fantastic. Paolo Di Canio's volley against Wimbledon. That's an amazing piece of skill. Paolo Di Canio's volley against Chelsea. Bring it down on the knee from the throw on, bang. An amazing piece of skill, right? And it's right in what Terry says. It's Zidane doing anything.
Yeah.
And then Ken says it's only a great bit of skill and then product.
Watching only 21 likes, lads. Come on, help us out.
Gaza in the World Cup, watching him dribble with that ball. To see Benny do it, it was great in the context of the moment, but it's not an amazing, fantastic, crazy piece of skill. These guys Di Canio's goal against Arsenal. lifting it over a Keown and then trying not to have his legs removed by Tony Adams' slide tackle, which Tony Adams has actually said in an interview since he actually tried to hurt him. He actually wanted to try and take him out of the game and got nowhere near him. It was good to watch Benny do it. It was fantastic. I'll tell you what, the best part of it for me was the fact that he had the confidence to take it on, Rob. That for me, that this is what 3 starts in a row does for a guy.
Why do I have this horrible feeling that you are heading towards a butt?
No. Depends.
You are, aren't you? Come on.
Depends on what time she gets home. No, what I was going to say is, he again. He was almost faultless yesterday, Rob.
But
almost, if he can work on his shooting, then we're looking at like I tell you now, the confidence that the guy's got from being played from the start 3 times running, get 90 minutes under his belt yesterday. His work rate off the ball now is off the charts compared to what it was beforehand, which was one of my criticisms of him, Rob, and will continue to be, right? But his off the ball work yesterday and, the couple of other games that he's played has been fantastic. He just needs to work on that finishing, that shooting. Gonzo's dad actually turned around and said earlier that there's times when he shoots, he could go get a paper and a cup of tea, finish reading an article, put the paper down, and then go pick up his shot because it comes in quite weird. I'm not getting a Benny shirt, right? But he's becoming the player that I wanted him to be, not just the player going forward. The defensive side of it is his work rate off the ball, and I'm really, really pleased to see it coming all together for him because, as I've said before, numerous times, if he can add the work off the ball, and Rob, you and I have had this conversation offline many times, if he can add the off the ball stuff to what he offers going forward when he's on the ball and actually can work on that finishing, we are going to have a top player. And we're starting to see it. It looks like he's being worked with on the training ground on that defensive side of things, the dropping back, the helping out. We're seeing all of that now. If I'm honest, I would drop him against Silkeborg on Thursday.
FCSB.
Just because it's a nothing game. I would play him against...
it's FCSB, Duke.
Oh, it's FCSB. We did Silkeborg. FCSB.
I wouldn't play him again. To be honest, I wouldn't play... There's a lot of players I wouldn't play. He's got, for me, he's got a little bit more to do. And if you want my honest opinion, I think he's got a little bit more to do between now and Cornet coming back from injury to make sure that Cornet just doesn't walk in and take that spot from him. He's got a little bit more work to do before he can turn around and say to Cornet, come and fight me for it. And once we get to that point, it's only going to benefit us as a club. I saw something earlier I want your opinion on, Rob. Yep.
Until Paqueta, teeth back in. Until Paqueta is fit.
Yes.
Do you put Scamacca on the bench and start Antonio?
No.
You don't?
Nope.
Because I kind of agree with it. Because I feel that with Paqueta, he tries to get up with Scamacca a bit more. Whereas Antonio can do a lot more work on his own than what Scamacca tends to. I think, if I'm honest, if we'd had Paqueta when we had Haller, we'd be looking at a different side of Haller. Do you know what I mean? I think Haller and Scamacca can't play on their own up front. But when you add Paqueta into the mix, it's amazing. So I would, you don't think so, no?
No. I wouldn't.
Why?
Just real quick.
Go on.
Hammer 89's asking that question. Would you sack Moyes if we don't win one of our next two? I'll answer it first. I think it really depends upon the context of how these two net games go. I think if we win one and lose one, then win one and draw one, no. If we don't win one, it kind of depends on the context of it, mate. It really does. I mean, if we got beat 5-0 and 5-0, then I think that there has to be a discussion. There seriously does. If it was two draws and they were draws where we got stiffed by the referee or something like that, and you could see that the players were playing for the manager and it was just one of those things, not necessarily. How about yourself, Duke?
Before I answer that, I wish to do this one.
Mm-hmm.
My condolences, Sharky.
Same.
I get that, and I also want to put it out there for a couple of other viewers of ours that have lost family members. I'm not gonna put them out there. They know who they are. So I just want to offer my condolences to those as well. I've offered those to them personally over the last couple of days. But Sharky, mine to you as well, my man. If you need anyone to talk to, you know where we are. You know where you can find us. Give us a shout, mate. And same for the other person in the chat and the other reprobate that doesn't show up as often anymore. To answer that question from Hammer, again, it kind of, as Rob says, it really does come back to the context of, but it's not though. It's not. It's we've in 12 games we've won 7, lost 4, and drawn 1 in all competitions. That's essentially, you're saying Premier League games, but look at it the other way. I'm talking consecutive games. It's nowhere near that. That's that. In all fairness, that's not quite sackable. It's on the road to sackable if that was the only context we were looking into. Okay, that's a very fair comment. I will take that on board as well. Happy birthday, Abby. For me, 2 1-0 wins. It's not hate. Piss off. You made me swear again. It's not hate, young man. 2 scrappy 1-0 wins. Don't think it matters, does it? 2 dominant spankings. Don't think it matters. A win's a win.
Do you like being dominated and having a spank?
Being dominated and spanked, Rob. It's one of my things.
Is it?
So it's my birthday in 16 days' time. So if anyone wants to dominate and spank me or get me something along those lines for my birthday, I'm looking forward to it. You say Mickey Mouse Cup, Hammer. If we go and win Mickey Mouse Cup at the end of the season, does that? You're saying that's not giving him a pass? You're saying that that's not worthy of fan adulation? Are you saying that that's not worthy of celebrating? Because I'm telling you now, we win the Europa Conference at the end of the season, I'm having a fucking party. Like, I'll have a party for everyone in my pub. I will put up a £100 bar tab. If we go, I'll say it now. Here, you can have it, and you can have it online, and it'll be there. If West Ham win the Europa Conference League in May 2023, I will have a party for any West Ham fan that wants to come down to my pub and drop £100 behind the bar and a bar tab. And bearing in mind that my pints are £3.15 for a pint of Foster's, Monday to Thursday, there's more than enough to go around. So I'll put it there now. I will be more than happy if we win the Europa Conference League, this Mickey Mouse Cup. If we win it, I'll put £100 behind the bar, and we're gonna have a West Ham party to celebrate it. Yeah, that's how much winning that trophy.
I don't think it's a Mickey Mouse Cup, and I'll tell you why. Number one, you look at some of the teams that win it. Okay, it was Liverpool that won it last season. Before that, Manchester City, I think, won it 3 seasons on the bounce.
It's not the conference, Rob. We're talking about the conference.
No. He said about the Mickey Mouse Cup. I thought he was on about the League Cup.
No, I think he's on about this one because I said we're top of our, because that's the games that we've won. That's part of our 8 wins.
Listen, it's a European trophy. I mean, did Jose Mourinho, who's won 2 European Cups with 2 different clubs, and the UEFA Cup and all the rest of it, he didn't turn his nose up at that. I mean, he celebrated that like he celebrated winning a Champions League.
Would I sack him or not? No. There you go. No, I wouldn't. And I'll tell you, it's a work in progress with the new players that we've got in. You can't just make a knee-jerk reaction. I think it's embarrassing when teams do. I felt it was embarrassing when Villa sacked Gerrard. He'd only been there since November last year. He hadn't even been in the job a fucking year. You made me swear again. I thought it was embarrassing when Chelsea sacked Thomas Tuchel, bearing in mind that the season or so beforehand, he'd won the European Champions League with them. Like, behave yourself now, right? There cannot be knee-jerk reactions. Sit him down, have a conversation. We need to change things. It's not about, kick him out the door, see you later on, take care. There needs to be something that we can do to change it. I'd take 17th. Not 18th, though. But there needs to be a conversation to be had about what you can do to change things. I think Noble coming in January will make a big difference in that side of things because he will work with Moyes. He'll be the mouthpiece between the two, I think, the board and the management team. But there would, for me, there needs to be a conversation of what can we do to make this better, not just out the door, fuck off.
He won't come to West Ham. I'll save Duke the bother. Pochettino and Tuchel are not going to come to West Ham United. These are managers that have a recent history of managing teams in the Champions League. We have never qualified for the Champions League. Pochettino will not, ex-Spurs manager, will not come to West Ham. Tuchel will not come to West Ham. Forget it. Not happening.
I'd love to be proved wrong on that.
However, just to sort of like entertain the argument, what if, because that is your question, what if he wanted the job? Okay. I think he's a very good manager, but he won't. I
was about to ask Andy what he's been smoking, Rob, because he said that the Porch, who's Porch, and then he actually puts not. He would not come.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to ask him what he was smoking, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I don't know whether he's waiting for Spurs, but like I say, he's got a pedigree of, like I say, recently, him and Tuchel, they've managed Champions League, season on season. They're not going to come to a team that's in the Conference League.
Okay then, Rob. Kate's message. Go on then.
If he does go, then who comes? We need someone dynamic and bring someone in with flair. Okay. Before this season began, Kate, I said, again, hypothetical, if David Moyes tomorrow was to not be West Ham manager and the position was available, who would be the 2 managers I would like to go for? And there were 2 names. One of them is now not going to come to us because he's now the manager of Chelsea, Graham Potter. So that's out the window. The other guy, I think, could be an option if David Moyes was no longer the West Ham manager, and his name is Brendan Rodgers.
Even with what's going on at Leicester at the moment.
Let's put it this way. That makes it even more palatable, I would suspect, if you had, let's for the purposes of the discussion, I'm not saying whether I think he should go or whether I think he should stay. I've been asked the question if he was given the push, who would I like to see? And like I say, I think Brendan Rodgers always sets his team up to attack other teams. He will listen. I get why people have a bit of a downer on David Moyes. I get that his style of football can be a little bit dour, a little bit handbrake applied and all the rest of it. Brendan Rodgers doesn't set his teams up like that. Brendan Rodgers will play the West Ham way. Now, he also has a pedigree of winning trophies in England. He's won the FA Cup. All right, you could turn around and say he's only won one FA Cup, but you know, it's more than West Ham have won in 42 years. So, do you know what I mean? It's like beggars can't be choosers. I would take him, absolutely. Terry's not a fan, and that's fine. But I absolutely wouldn't turn my nose up to him. The Brentford manager, Thomas Frank, I think he's too invested in the project at Brentford. I don't think he's going anywhere. I really don't.
Tell you what, if this was a question for 2 years ago, I would have taken Eddie Howe all day long and twice on a month of Sundays. I also agree with Andy and Kent. Obviously, Thomas Frank. Vincent Kompany hasn't done anywhere near enough for me as a manager yet. In the jury's out on him, but I wait to see what he does at Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kate's next answer after this one. I wouldn't say Moyes is a dino. I love the idea of Scotty Parker. I do, but she's right in what she says. He needs more experience.
Yeah. You're welcome, Kate.
I
actually agree with that statement, Terry. I do agree with that statement.
Yeah, he's right. Right? We've never had it so good as West Ham. Listen, I stand by my comment. He's the best West Ham manager for me since John Lyall. Right? That's me. Not in a million years. There you go. Straight answer.
I'm a big believer. If you watch us before Hammers 89, I'm a big believer in never go back. I know there are times it works, but you know he's not been in Premier League management for how long now? I mean, it's got to be nearly 10 years, isn't it? 8 years, 10 years since he last managed in the Premier League. Just no.
Unless he means Jamie, and the answer's still no.
Yeah, the answer's still hell no.
I love the fact that between Words and Pictures and Terry, they're having a little sing-song. It's great. Kate, you're more than welcome, sweetheart. And Kent's right in what he says. My concern is that he might still be the only fucking option. I swore again. He might be the only option. Is Sean Bloody Dyche. Like, come on now. We're miles away from that. Miles away from that now.
Don't see that's
the concern. Lee says there, I want to see what Moyes can do with the players that we've now got. Considering that we got into Europe 2 seasons on the trot with stick-thin squads. And let's be honest, I'm not digging out the players that we've had, but there's been no real standout like individual quality in there other than maybe Declan Rice. Do you know what I mean? There's been grafters and there's been hard workers and there's been people that will bleed for the shirt and, the likes of Dawson, Noble was, not necessarily technically gifted like Paqueta. Pat, great shout. But now we've got the player
account as well, allegedly.
Now we've got the players, the likes of Cornet, the likes of Skamaka, Paqueta, Kera, the likes of Benny coming to the fore. There was rumours today of Lanzini being sold, and the fact that we're looking at might have 50 million quid to spend in January, Rob. Again, Hammer. There's no experience of top flight management.
Yeah. He's managing the women's team.
He's managing the women's, and what I actually think he's teaching them to do is how to throw a decent left hook. But other than that, who knows? But I would rather see Moyes stay than replace him. There you go.
Yeah, I think we need to get to the break before the World Cup and assess it from there. I mean, if the two results against Palace and Leicester don't go to plan, for me, I think minimum expectation there is 4 points. Minimum expectation is 4 points. I think Leicester we should look to take care of. Palace could be a little bit tricky because they're a bit of a funny team. But
4 wins from 4. 4 wins from 4 in the next 4 games that we've got before the break. League Cup.
I couldn't care less about FCSB. Couldn't care less if we got smashed 5-0.
No, but there will be 4 wins.
Means nothing. You think?
4 wins coming out of 4.
Okay.
That's how confident I am that we're on an upwards trajectory, not a downwards one.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, before I tell you what, I'll answer this question just real quickly. Would I drop Souček and play Rice with Downs if Paqueta is fit for next weekend? Yes. Yes, I would. How about yourself, Duke?
Yeah, simple answers, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I don't
again,
think
that's us. That's
Will Moyes probably not.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah, probably not.
You know,
he'll probably drop Downs because it's the easy option, isn't it? But there you go. Right. Okay, Duke. Do you want to do player ratings, old chap?
Yeah, because I'm a bit pissed off with some of the ratings that our players got in the papers today, mate.
So you want to put that right, do you?
I do.
Okay, let's get to it. Okay, right, there we go. I'm going to go full screen with this, Duke. So let's start between the sticks as we always do and talk to me about Mr. Lucas Fabianski. You only had 45 minutes, but what did you think?
I think it's too bad, Rob, to be fair. Can't do nothing about the goal. Great positioning on the chances that they did have, Rob. I did say that, watching the first half and again sat with your brother. I made some comments about the fact that his positioning, although they were getting shots away, they were at him. He didn't have to move. So his positioning was fantastic. He got to where he needed to be before they made their shots. So I'm actually, if I'm honest, I'm going to give him a high 6, low 7.
High 6, low 7. Come on, make a decision.
Low 7.
Low 7. Okay. I'm going to go 6. Only contributed a half. He made a couple of saves that I think, to be quite honest with you, a goalkeeper of reasonable quality should make. I'm going to go 6. So talk to me about Cresswell.
I want to talk to you about words and pictures. I'm in like, and his next one.
He got the banhammer out. Words and pictures.
I love it. I love it. Who are we on?
Cresswell. And you guys in the live chat, get stuck in. Don't be shy.
Got a 3. Cresswell got a 3 in the papers today.
Did he really?
He got a 3.
A bit harsh.
I'm actually going to give him a 6. It's a little bit above average. It's not shit. It's not great. I think he could have done more in the build up to their goal. But I'm actually going to give him a 6.
Okay. Yeah, no, don't think that's out of line. I think the 6 is probably reasonable. I think he put in a decent ball for the header from Zuma. It was him that played the ball, the crossing of the left-hand side. Defensively, I thought he was okay, but I do think that maybe he could have done better for the Eriksson cross, because that was from his side of the pitch. But yeah, I don't think he was too bad. I certainly don't think he was a 3. I think that's a bit sort of harsh, but I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go 6, possibly a low 6. But I'm gonna give him a 6. But he gets Kent's Z. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Seems to be a lot of hatred for Cressy in the.
It's
in the
not
chat.
hatred. Stop it.
I love it.
Stop it.
Feed on it.
How about Tilo Kehrer?
I'm actually going to give him a 5.
Yeah.
Whereas Ken said there, he was awful in his Z, and Ahmet says he was at fault for the cross and the goal for Cressy.
Yeah, he was.
For me, Kehrer was at fault for the goal. Kehrer was at fault for the goal. He didn't mark the man. He marked the ball. He lost the player. He doesn't jump for the goal. He doesn't try to defend the cross, and he's very weak. That being said, there was some real good tackles, but he also has the penchant for. Oh, they're back. They're at the top. What happened here?
Hey, what?
3 sexy girls.
Oh, get lost.
They're back at the top, Rob. Oh no, an error has occurred. I've obviously banned. That's all right. They're gone. Don't mind that. Can we show it in the chat? Yeah, we can. Oh, no.
Terrible. This is a family channel. Go away.
They're only virtual girls. They're not real.
Hang on. They're knocking at the front door. Oh, hang on. I've got to go.
All right, I'll see you later. I'm actually going to give him a 5. Like I say, he didn't defend. He didn't defend the ball for the goal. He didn't defend the man. He was very, very poor in the air. I'm actually going to give him a 5.
Yeah, I think it was basic defending 101. He allowed the player to get a jump on him, and once you've done that, you've committed suicide. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 5. I think, but he did make a good challenge in the second half, which he's a sliding sort of tackle, which I got to say I was very impressed by, because I think if he didn't make that, then because I think at that point he was on a yellow card from memory, and if he didn't make that, then in all likelihood he gets a second yellow. But it was a good challenge. But be that as it may, he made an error at a critical moment. So I think I'm probably going to give him a 5 as well.
He also has a penchant for making mistakes in a game. When we're talking about players that have one mistake in them in a game,
yeah,
he has that as well, Rob, and it worries me.
Yeah. How about Mr. Zuma?
I'm going to give Zooms an 8, mate.
Yeah.
Because his ball carrying, his drive, he's wanting to get the team further up the pitch by carrying the ball out of defence, especially in the last half an hour. In the times that we were dominating play, you could see that he was getting frustrated by the lack of movement in front of him. So it really did feel like a case of screw it, I'll do this myself.
Yep.
And he really did. Listen, if you were talking about yardage gained on a carry like they do in NFL, he gained us several yesterday. I'm going to give him an 8.
Yeah, I think a solid 8, verging on a 9. I thought he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. Just looking here at some of his stats, 93% pass accuracy from centre back. That's very, very good. He had 2 shots that he's registered. Obviously, one of them was the header, the save from De Gea. He won 1 aerial, and yeah, I thought he was very, very good. I didn't actually clock it. According to this, he took a corner. I missed that.
That shit needs to stop happening.
I'll tell you what else needs to stop happening. Just while you mention it, I'll tell you what I don't get. Now, bear in mind that Antonio, when he came on, was playing as our striker.
I don't want to hear it.
Well, no, he came over and took I'm not going to swear because you don't want me to swear. He came over and took a throw in, and it's like in the final third, you're the striker. What are you doing?
Yeah, I called it. I said it to your brother and everyone else around us. Why?
Yeah,
Why is
it's
why?
like in the Euros in 2016 when under Roy Hodgson, England had Harry Kane taking
Yeah,
corners. What?
yeah, it does make
Ridiculous.
sense, does it?
Yeah. Craig Dawson.
Um, Caught out of play, caught out of position a couple of times that I remember.
Yeah.
Kind of wish that he was the one at the back post for the header,
Hmm.
but again he was pulled forward, I suppose in a way, from the throw on, which I still think might have been handball. 6.
Yeah, I don't think he had a great game yesterday. There was I think it was the first half. He got the ball, he played it, and the moment the ball left his foot, I could see that it didn't have enough on it. And I think it was Rashford nipped in. I'm like, oh my word. He had a couple of stray passes. Looking here at his pass success percentage, 74%, which is quite some way down on the guy that was next to him that we've just referenced, Kurt Zuma at
Yeah,
93. His passing was off a bit yesterday, so amongst other things. So I'm probably going to give him a 6. Not Craig Dawson's best game in a claret and blue shirt. But then we come to the captain, Mr. Declan Rice.
if I may backtrack slightly, I do want to say that Zuma did look like he was blowing out of his arse at one point in that game. Towards the end, he looked at. I think it was one of our last couple of corners. He looked like he was absolutely spent.
Well,
Uh,
he got a bit of a whack, didn't he? He was
yeah,
limping quite heavily at one point.
but he just looked absolutely knackered, like
Yeah.
out on his feet. Rice again. So I know it's cliche, Rob, and everyone says about the backwards and the sideways passes. And I made the comment that there's no one moving around in front, which is why, if we have these backwards and sideways passes. I had a little game again yesterday, and every time we passed sideways, I shouted sideways. Every time we passed backwards, I shouted backwards. But the reason Zuma spent a lot of time carrying the ball out of defence yesterday was because the players in front of him weren't trying to find space or weren't finding the space, which meant that Zuma had to carry. And Rice was one of the culprits of that, of the not finding the space for the out of the ball, kind of standing in behind the defensive Man United unit and the no movement from the players, the hiding, not hiding behind the defensive unit, but not coming out to try and receive the ball or trying to find space. And it's frustrating me because it seems to be last week against Bournemouth, it was Rice that was doing all the sideways and backwards passing in front of his defence because the players in front of him weren't moving. So, in a way, he should be understanding that that's how frustrating it was yesterday for the likes of Zuma doing so. I'm actually going to give him a 7. I don't think he was, in that sense, it didn't work for me, but I have to say, going forward, once we got the ball, especially towards the end of the second half, the driving force in and around their box uh, was Declan Rice, and I feel that if he could have dropped that the whole game and found the space when back forward trying to find a way out, his score could have been higher. But 7.
I'm going to give him a 9. I agree with Ken. I thought he was absolutely sensational in the middle of the park. I thought he drove the team on. He led by example, and he gets my man of the match. No, I think the only contender for me for the man of the match award from the lads in claret and blue or orange and white as it was Kurt Zuma. I think he's the only person that I think was a realistic contender, in my opinion, for the man of the match award. but Declan he nips in. He gets a 9 out of me. So yeah, Declan Rice is the recipient of my superhero award. But talk to me about the guy that was partnering him, Mr. Souček.
I get frustrated with him because he's a victim. And he really is a victim, Rob. He's a victim of being asked to do all the things that he can't do. Yeah.
Be a midfielder?
Being a ball-playing midfielder, if you want. It's not working. It's not working, which is why we're all turning on him, Rob. And I think it was mentioned earlier in another video that if we hadn't have had the Souček that we'd had, then this Souček would be doing us fine. The defensive Souček winning the aerial battles, winning the tackles, interceptions, not worrying about his passing stats or his lack of goals. If we hadn't have had the arriving late version of Souček, we wouldn't know any different, would we? Do you know what I mean? So then,
if he hadn't scored 10 goals in his first full season,
then we wouldn't be judging him like we are. I actually think he's strong in the air, Rob. He wins a lot of duels. He wins a lot of headers. Yesterday he wasn't amazing. I'm actually going to give him a 5. Because it is the passing that lets him down. And sadly, it will cost us more goals than we score if we continue to perpetuate this kind of negative style of play in a way that does not benefit the potato salad king.
Right. Well, his passing's never been his best attribute, although he wasn't actually the worst player on the pitch in that regard. There was a few players on either side that were actually inferior to him. Diogo Dalot, believe it or not, had a worse pass completion, but I thought he had a really good game. Fred had a 33% pass accuracy. That's ridiculous. And then as far as we were concerned, Bowen was on 74%, Dawson was on 74%, Kera's on 77%, and Souček was on 79%. So his passing wasn't as bad as some. And we know that his attributes are heading and tackling, and he's got 3 tackles to his name and 4 aerial duels won. But if you're judging him as a midfielder, I want to see a little bit more than just purely defensive attributes. I want to see sort of like a more rounded midfielder. Maybe I'm being greedy, but I don't know where that Thomas Souček that got those 10 goals in his first full season has gone. I really don't. I don't know what's happened, but I've got to judge him as a midfielder, not as a defender. I know sort of Gonzo says that he now does judge him as a defender, but he's not. He's not. So I've got to judge him as a midfielder. 5? Is that too harsh?
Well, what Kent says there, Rob, is spot on, really. Kent has got it bang on. He does what Moyes wants, but he can't be productive anymore because that's kind of been taken away from him to a degree. He's kind of had that. He's kind of had that removed. So yeah, sadly, you have to judge him in a way that what Moyes wants him to do, and that's the way it is now.
Yeah, I mean, if Moyes all what Moyes wants out of him is head the ball, make tackles, make interceptions, and then give the ball to someone else, that's fine. But I don't know. I want to see that Thomas Souček of 2 seasons ago make a resurgence. I don't know if that's possible though, because I do think that possibly the evolution of Declan has kind of negated that version of Declan Rice from coming to the fore. But there you go. Talk to me about Flynn Downs.
I'm going to give him 2 ratings, Rob. I'm going to give him 1 for either side of the halfway line, and then we can work out where I'm going to go in the middle. In front of our box, in front of our back 4, give him an 8. His confidence is his confidence on the ball for someone that's played very few minutes in the Premier League. He looks outstanding. As I've said before, I think he's a mould, DNA. I'm going to do a DNA test because I'm pretty sure you'll see Carrick, Noble and Parker all moulded into one because he has that in
He's got
him.
3 dads.
He's got 3 dads.
Wow.
But all of
that
that
must have
is
been
there.
an interesting conception.
Well, I'm not getting involved in that conversation. But you can see all 3 of those players in him. Like it's brilliant. Unfortunately, the other side of the equation is him being outside their box and high up the pitch and in the final third. And unfortunately, he gets a 4 because he doesn't have the mentality of an attacking midfielder. You know, he doesn't. Like as I said to you earlier, he gets nosebleeds going so far forward.
Yeah.
And when you're asking him, listen, he was deployed to be the defensive midfielder that was going to man mark Casemiro, and to a degree, it worked. But once he got the ball in an attacking third, he didn't have a fucking clue what to do, Rob. So he gets an 8 defensively, he gets a 4 at the other end. So he gets a 6 from me. The drive and the desire wants his drive and his desire to actually want to do well is there. The fact, you know, as I've said before, he has the footballing ability. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he has the brain power of a dolphin, which is one of the smartest animals on the planet. He also has the attacking footballing skills of one as well. That's not his fault because he's being deployed in a position that's not necessarily the way he wants to be. He's not being deployed. He's not being deployed tactically against his wishes. He's being deployed positionally against what he can do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's
just.
obviously
I'll tell you
being
what.
deployed in a position that's not his. I think, to coin a phrase, and Kent, if he's still in the chat, will remember this one, I'm sure, because Kent's got a photographic memory of quotations and this, that, and the other. It was a quote that Brian Clough made about Sir Trevor Brooking before the 1980 FA Cup final, when he turned around and said he floats like a butterfly and stings like one. That is basically Flynn Downs playing as a 10. Flynn Downs is not a 10, bless him. He's doing a job for the team. He's doing it to the best of his ability. But as you said, he gets to that area of the pitch and he hasn't got a clue what to do with the ball next.
Yeah.
So I'm going to agree with you. 6. Not, you know, it's not his position. He did his best. But yeah, 6. Move on. Saeed Ben Ramadouk, your mate.
Why?
What?
Why?
What?
Why?
Why what? Why is he your mate?
Shut up, dickhead. You made me swear again. I actually thought Saeed Benrahma was a positive player again yesterday, Rob.
Agreed.
There was some drive, there was some determination. There was a will and a desire to make things happen yesterday. Now, unfortunately, they didn't always work. He did that crazy, amazing, fantastic piece of skill. No. I'm actually going to give him an 8.
Okay, that's.
I actually thought he played.
Have you had a drink? Have you?
No, only a Diet Pepsi. Okay. He put in a shift.
Yep.
He actually tried to make things work. The only letdown that Benrahma now has, whereas before, it was always about his work rate. It was always about his tracking back. It was always about his work off the ball. He's worked out on that. He now does that in a game. He works hard off the ball to try and either A, win the ball back, or B, contain the other team. His only letdown right now is the fact that he can't shoot for toffee when he has to think about it. If it's a snapshot, it's something else. But when he has to think about it in game, as in not free kicks, not penalties, I would actually I'll give him an 8.
I'm going to agree with James. He's a 7 for me. I think that he was doing his best. He was trying to be productive. He was bringing the ball forwards. A few little tricks and flicks sort of involved. As you say, defensively, he's also putting a shift in. His shooting is a bit of an issue, and funnily enough, I actually said it in the stadium yesterday. I made exactly the same comment that you've just made. That I think that when the ball comes to him and he's got to hit it, bang, because he hasn't got time to do anything else, then I think that in those situations he seems to be better than when he's got the ball at his feet, he's running and he's like, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I do this? Do I do that? And he's sort of like, he overthinks it and sometimes he gets it wrong. I think that sometimes he should just, pull the trigger, have a go. But I think he was going forwards. I think he was very, very bright. He was energetic. He had a go. 7 for me, I think, is a fair score. Jared Bowen, on the other hand.
I'm either going to get grief or I'm going to get a pat on the back for my honesty. I'm going to give him a 2.
Wow.
I thought he was the worst player on the pitch yesterday.
Worse than Fred?
Yep. Honestly, I thought he was diabolical. Now, is that diabolical? Because, again, what we were saying about Souček earlier, what we've seen, yeah? What we've seen from Souček now kind of makes it difficult for us to overlook the fact that he scored 10 goals in his first season as an arriving late midfielder. If we hadn't have had that, we'd be praising him for his defensive side, his defensive work, and we would be. There's no two ways about it. Now, what I'm saying with Jared Bowen is we saw everything, and we saw just how many points Jared Bowen got this club last season. He, I'm not saying he scored the winning goals, but he scored the goals that maybe put us out of sight. It wouldn't be the final goal, but he's nowhere near that form this season, Rob, and it's pitiful seeing a player like him that we were 4 months ago, were banging the drum to put him in the England squad, as Kent's just said there. He ain't going to the World Cup, mate, based off of what we've seen so far this season. I give him a 2 because I thought he was that bad yesterday. And that miss, come on now.
I'm going to go 5. I think that he only really sort of did anything towards the latter stages of the game. Up to that point, I got to be honest, his contribution was minimal in either offensively or defensively. I just didn't really notice him. It just seemed like the game passed him by. He's no chance he's going to the World Cup. There's no chance he's going to the World Cup. He's been a shadow of the player that he was last season. I thought that about 4 or 5 games ago, I thought that he was starting to make a little bit of a resurgence and possibly he might have had a chance, but he's just slipped back again. He was poor. 5. Leaves us with Gianluca Scamacca.
I'm actually going to give Scarmack a 4 again.
Okay.
He's lucky to get that. The booking screwed him.
Yes.
The booking screwed him.
Screwed us as well.
He couldn't play in a way that he wanted to. Cheers, Kent. See you later, mate. Look
after yourself.
Cheers for coming along.
Thanks for coming.
I think it was my 4 and my 2 and my 4. I think I've upset. No, I think it was the booking that ruined it for him. But then, you still got to try and do your best for your teammates, and it just seemed like it wasn't there. Hence the reason of the 4. The Man U players were looking to try and get him sent off because of the high boot, and I'll be honest, I was concerned a little bit for a moment that there might be a second yellow coming. And it really did. It put him on the back foot, which is why he gets a 4.
I'm probably going to go 5. I think there was a couple of little interchanges he had with Benny from memory, which, nice little bit of link-up play. The booking from that point on, though, it did noticeably he did noticeably sort of like retract his game. And like I say, the moment there was that second challenge where the players were sort of like asking for a second booking, I just knew that he was not going to be on the pitch too much longer. 5, can't really sort of say too much more. He didn't really sort of do an awful lot. I take James's point here about Paqueta maybe being the sort of like the link in the chain,
See where he's
because it
coming
did
from.
seem that there was a burgeoning partnership that was beginning to blossom between those two until the point that obviously Paqueta's got the injury at St Mary's. Hopefully he'll be back from that sooner rather than later. But yeah, on the basis of yesterday, again, I can't really sort of say too much more. It's 5. It's probably about as much as I can give him, really, and can't really justify giving him too much more. So then that leaves us with Mr. Moyes. How'd you mark him? And just to sort of reference the title of this particular stream, Bad Luck or Bad Tactics, was it bad tactics from Mr. Moyes or was it bad luck?
7 for me.
Okay.
Said before the Anderlecht game or after the Anderlecht game. Set yourself up, and I know people are gonna. I'm gonna get a bit of grief for this, and I know I am because there was some comments made earlier by Neil. Neil Manning, goalkeeping 1-to-1. If anyone needs any goalkeeping coaches, reach out to Neil. Very good goalkeeper.
I'm not going to mark the sub, Sharky. I can't be asked.
A very good goalkeeper, but make some comments, but won't put himself in the hot seat like you and I do on a what seems like a daily basis at the minute. But with Moyes, I said it at the Anderlecht game, Rob, to be in the game after 70 minutes. Okay, well, yesterday, I don't think we were out of our depth in any way, shape, or form, and the stats will bear me out on this. Okay, the stats will bear me out on this. We were more than just in the game, Rob. Okay, we had, I think it was 14 shots. Can you remind me if I'm wrong, or 13?
We had yesterday, just looking here at the stats, we had a total of 13 shots, of which 5 were on target.
And all 5 of those, granted, came on target in the last 15 minutes. But we had 10 shots.
Mm-hmm. I try, Scott, I try.
I can see what James is saying. Okay, bad tactics for him playing Downs as a 10. Here's the key for me, James. Downs wasn't deployed as a 10. Downs was deployed in the 10 to man mark Casemiro. Okay? He wasn't deployed as a 10 in the normal sense of the word. He was deployed as a defensive midfielder higher up the pitch. He wasn't deployed as a 10. And the fact that, you know what, Casemiro for me largely was non-existent in that game would be down to Wally Flynn Downs being in there and taking care of the job that he was asked to do. Now, unfortunately, when we got the ball and we went forward with it, he then couldn't offer the same as a Paqueta or a Benny in the 10 or anyone else. All right, that for me is clear to see. But Moyes set us up to be in the game with an hour to go, with half an hour to go, and for me, we dominated large portions of the ball. Okay, large portions of the of time spent with the ball. Unfortunately, what comes down to the crux of the matter is, you can call it bad defending from Cresswell, Downs, and Rice for the cross. You can call it bad defending for the header or lack of and defending by Tilo Kehrer. Okay, or you could say it as it is, and it was a fantastic cross and delivery from Christian Eriksen, which we lacked on the flip side of that coin. It was a fantastic piece of movement by Marcus Rashford to come forward, to drop off and lose Kehrer to come in and rise like he did for the header. Let me just, I don't. Yep, I don't disagree with you there, but that's what he chose to do in that one game, and I think he absolutely, I think he actually proved that he can do it. Let's see. Yeah, agreed. I'd have Ben Rama in the 10. Not going to lie. Now,
I wouldn't have Bowen in the team at the minute. I really wouldn't.
No, but it's good. Something's got to change, isn't it? I.e., him up here. Something's got to click. Now, as I was saying, you can call it bad tactical management by Moyes. I call it that it was two pieces of real top draw footballing skill, if you want, the header and the cross, and some fantastic goalkeeping by David De Gea. That they're the bits that really separated the two sides yesterday. Was the delivery from crosses, which you got from Christian Eriksen, and the finishing from Rashford. We had one real decent cross in the game, which came from Cresswell, which set up Zuma's header. Okay, that was the only real class piece of delivery that I saw in that game. And then, like I say, you had the two efforts from Antonio and Rice, brilliant saves. The header, amazing save, big one-handed saves, Rob, both of them. And then you have the one that was blocked by Maguire. Okay, the only things that separated us were the goalkeeper and Eriksen and the header. That was it. Other than that, we're in that game until the end, and a worse keeper, and we win that. So there's lots of positives to be taken from this defeat. I know in an overall context of what we're looking at, it's now our 11th away defeat of 2022. I get that, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the context of this game against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Never before have we gone to Old Trafford and played what I felt was enough football that we had 47% of the ball.
Correct.
Yeah, and you're right, James. They did. It was a free header. To be fair, no one marking it, and we, call it lucky there if you want. But we've never gone to Old Trafford and played with 47% possession of the ball, Rob. In fact, I don't think we've gone away and played with 47% possession. But again, as Scott says, there are lots of positives that can come out of that game. The way we played. We felt comfortable on the ball. Yes, I would like to see more attacking intent from us. I get that. I think all of us would. But I want to see. I want to see some positivity. I'm bored of seeing the negativity. It's exhausting seeing the same shit from the same Facebook, Twitter, Instagram users. I can't be dealing with it anymore. So let's take the positives from these. We go to Steaua Bucharest on Thursday. Whatever team he chooses to play, we go do. We get behind them. I know Happy's going, so enjoy. We then come back on Sunday.
Charlie's going as well.
Charlie's going as well. Enjoy.
Yep.
We come back Sunday. We've got Palace. We then go Wednesday against Blackburn, and then our final game before the international I say the international break. Oh, fuck mine. The World Cup is, Leicester. 4 wins from 4, and we ain't talking about this shit part of the year, this 11 away defeats or whatever, because 4 wins out of 4, we go on to the next stage of the Conference League, the straightaway knockouts without the playoffs. We go into the next round of the League Cup. We go hopefully into the World Cup in the top half of the table, and we can forget about all of this bit, and then we concentrate on the second half of the season.
I'm going to give David Moyes a 6.
Fair enough.
I think positives, like I say, I think we were the better team overall, in my opinion. But I do think that the 3 defensive midfielders, one of which playing as a 10, do excuse my dog. I just don't get it. I would much rather have had Downs alongside Declan Rice and play, whether you'd put Fornals as the 10, whether you'd put Lanzini as the 10, I don't know, or put Benrahma as the 10 and put Fornals on the left, whatever. He loses a mark for me there. One little thing I will give him credit for, and because I've moaned at him quite a lot recently about doing this, he didn't have 2 goalkeepers on the bench. Well done.
But Manchester United did.
I couldn't care less about Manchester
United.
I'm
just saying, that was the irony of it. Man U did, and they had to keep reform like they did. And I just want to go back. He wasn't playing as a 10. He was in the role, in the position on the pitch of a 10, but he didn't play the 10 role.
He was a holding playmaker. It's a new position invented by David Moyes.
Defensive Metsala, yeah.
False 10. False 10. There you go. We've answered that one because there was someone that asked that pretty much this question earlier, didn't it? Well, no, actually it was framed slightly differently.
If I can.
If we fail to win, are we in a relegation battle? I guess it kind of depends upon the results of the teams around us.
I think the bottom half of the table currently all find themselves in what is possibly a relegation battle. Yes, I think there are 10 teams right now, because of the close proximity in points and everything else, that the bottom 10 find themselves in a relegation battle. They are. I mean,
Leicester are 18th on 11 points, 13 played, -4 goal difference. If you say, well, 1 win from them jumps them up to 14th, well, that puts Everton in striking distance, who are in 12th, 1 place above us.
Exactly.
Crazy, isn't it? And
that's what I mean. The bottom 10 right now, unless some form is found by those,
that might be an idea.
Yeah. Unless the teams 10, 11, 12 find some serious piece of form, then the bottom 10 are going to find themselves. The bottom 10 are going to find themselves in that battle.
We have got an attacking goalkeeper. His name's Alphonse Areola. He gets the ball moving quicker, going from back to front quicker than Fabianski. Nothing wrong with Fabianski's shot stopping, but that is one weakness he does have in his game. And to be fair, he did go up for a corner late in the game, did Areola yesterday.
He did.
Didn't get anything from it, but he had a go. So, anyway, any final thoughts before we wrap it up, old chap?
Yeah, my missus would argue that one.
No comment. No comment whatsoever. Right. Okay. Well, if you've got nothing further to add, I'm gonna fire this out to you 20 people watching. Forge from Iron is proud to support Iron Supporting Food Banks. They are a group of West Ham United fans and friends inspired by the work of other football fan food banks around the country. They collect food and cash donations from Newham Food Bank in Beckton, who supply 7 distribution centres in the borough, 7 days a week, and hand out several hundred 3-day emergency food packs every month to families in need. They are also working with other groups to improve conditions for vulnerable adults and children in the Newham community. They are supported in their efforts by West Ham United Football Club, the WHU Foundation, LS185, London Legacy Development Corporation, Newham Council, the Met Police, Spire London East Hospital, Expedient Security, and a large number of West Ham and football fans. You can help by making a donation to their Just Giving page. You will find the link to this in the description section of the video details in this stream. Thank you for your support. Come on, you Irons. And just to mark your card, please don't forget that at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, we've got this fella joining us, Mr. Tony Cotty, if you wouldn't mind coming along and getting joined in on the live chat. Get your questions in for Mr. Cotty. We've got him for 45 minutes, an hour, whatever time frame we've got him for. Legend of the club, absolute legend of the club. He's coming on to answer your questions. So please feel free to come along, join us, and make a contribution. Get a question in, Mr. Tony Cotty, if you wouldn't mind. And do us a favour before we wrap it up. If you haven't already done so, drop a like on the stream, please. It would be much appreciated. In answer to your question, Mr. Venn, by the way, I'll just wind back. I spent 8 hours yesterday behind a steering wheel. And then I did it again today. Not 8 hours, but I had an 8-hour day and I've been driving for most of it. So if I look tired, it's because I am.
And to answer Scott's other question, no.
Probably not. I think he's to be fair to Tony, I have actually heard him broach the subject, and he turned around and said, you know, I made a choice. I backed the horse that I backed, and you know, Mr. Kretinsky came in and did what he did, and that's fine, fair enough, no hard feelings. So
yeah,
listen, he had the courage of his convictions, and all right, they didn't end up taking over the club. These things happen. You know, sometimes you get things wrong. So there you go. Anyway, right, Duke, what are we, mate?
Absolutely massive.
He's not going to swear,
Mediocre.
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Better than mediocre. What's
we're still massive. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on, you Irons. Join us tomorrow at 6:30.